Over the last couple of months, we have spent quite a bit of time working on some really cool 5.56 builds. There are 4 builds that are going to be featured in this video. We'll go over some of the different things about it as far as the use of them, the intent of the build. Some of them are unique with different triggers and optics and carbon fiber and all sorts of things. Now, this year, I wanted to go over the 5.56. I've built several 5.56s over the years, but I really wanted to dig in, find out more about the individual components, handguards and uppers and lowers, and even bolt carrier groups. And I learned quite a bit in this process. I learned some things that I definitely like, some things that I don't like, and some things that will be incorporated into future builds. Starting with Project Cold War, the intention of this build was to be a somewhat affordable, lightweight build with some premium components, considering weight, and just a take on a modern 5.56 battle rifle. This gun is incredibly light. I actually have not shot this gun yet, so reliability and accuracy testing will be coming very soon. This gun does need 2 things in order to be finished and final. Our titanium muzzle device here, we need to either shim or potentially put a different washer on there. It is not clocking properly when it's butted up against this Faxon PVD barrel. And last, I didn't even mean to do this, but we left off our forward assist. Some of you that have watched the channel, this is not the first time that I've left a forward assist off. I'm not really a big fan of those. A lot of these guns have incorporated the dye-free company Kung Fu grip, and you'll also see that I'm a big fan of Elf triggers. This one has an unbranded upper and lower, but the lower is carbon fiber, very lightweight. Got the Gideon on top, and again with an Elf stock. Really like this, lots of custom cerakote, but this gun is still affordable. And from the affordable to the extremely affordable, we have another grayed out build here, Kung Fu grip. This one has a polymer lower receiver. Now, before we go any further with this gun, a quick comment about lower receivers. You're going to see me doing a carbon fiber, a polymer. These are for me to play with. I'm not going to choose that on a gun that is a go-to-war premium gun. There are much better choices, but that being said, there's nothing wrong with playing around with some polymer lowers. This was an 80%. The carbon fiber one was a 100 with a serial number. It's very strong. I don't know if I'm going to torture test that or not. I have done some testing with the polymer. Several years ago, I did get one to break, but it was after quite a bit of use and definitely using the gun in a way it was not intended to be used. So back to the extreme budget. Originally, this gun was done for under $400, and I believe that included the optic. We have an AT3 basic shake awake optic on here, which I really like. This one has some lightning in the handguard. It's all milled and slotted. No Picatinny there on top. Of course, the polymer lower receiver does help with the weight. I have been absolutely shocked by this gun. I did not realize how much I would enjoy shooting it. Whatever the combination of parts here that we have, absolutely no rattle, absolutely solid lockup. The optic is pretty decent. The barrel shoots pretty accurately. We are going to do some more testing along with all 4 of these 5.56 builds. They all have different barrels and different optics, and let's kind of see what we like and what we don't like in the accuracy category. Now, this gun has quite a few rounds on it. I'm going to estimate that we're probably approaching 500. It shouldn't have that many rounds on it, but I continued to take this gun out and did a lot of stuff with it. Put several rounds down the barrel, and so far so good. It's entirely reliable. The only question mark is that polymer lower. Now, as you see it here, it is not under $400. We went back and did a follow-up series where we made 2 upgrades to a budget rifle that for me made a huge difference. One, of course, the Kung Fu grip. Now, these are not expensive. In most cases, they're the same or cheaper than a Magpul, and in my opinion, they're way better. Lots of grip, great angle up against the trigger guard. This little cutout down here makes it feel really nice. They are pretty small, and I have large hands, but it's not too small for me at all. But I can make it completely disappear there. The other upgrade on here is the Elftman trigger. Those Elftman triggers are very nice, and it's about 80% of the cost of the entire build. We virtually doubled this gun just by putting in the Elftman trigger, but it's really good, and it's caused me to continue to keep shooting this gun. Probably that Elftman trigger is the main thing that made me gravitate back to this gun and keep shooting it more than I really intended. We swapped out a mil-spec trigger to try this because at the time this Elftman came in, this gun was ready to go to the range, and that was the easiest and quickest way for me to get time on this trigger. Well, it wasn't supposed to stay in here, but guess what? It's been 6 months and it's still in here. On down the list, we have an unbranded billeted matched set in a custom coyote color. I wanted to do something with this gun where you could take, again, a budget-minded gun, put one spot of color in here. This is not FDE, it's a different color. It causes the gun, definitely makes the gun stand out, a little bit of a different color, but the rest of this is just all black. I think the combination of those things really makes for an interesting looking build. Now, Unbranded sent me a branded handguard, which I very much like. These handguards are a little heavy, but I have absolutely no question about their strength. They are a solid unit, and they have the lockup. The mounting to the barrel nut is a 10 out of 10, and it even has the anti-rotation at the top. Unbranded's got a great handguard. Now, this one has a Tacticon Armament with a solar panel there on the top for an optic. I have had a little bit of trouble with this optic. Sometimes on a recoil, it'll actually turn off. I have not addressed that. I'm gonna do a battery swap, and I'm gonna remount it, and if it still does it, I'll reach out to Tacticon. They do have a warranty. I don't really have any questions about them standing up to the product, but you'd like for stuff to work right out of the box. Now, this one has a 0 Delta cold hammer forged barrel, and it should be a really good barrel. We also have a unbranded, upgraded to the 158 bolt carrier group from Unbranded. You can see it there on their website. Links for all of these builds are down below. This is an ambi, everything, bolt, mag, and safety. We have the core ballistic trigger in here. Very much like it. It's good, and it's not super expensive. At this point, I would still lean towards a Elftman, but at a little bit of a discount, it's not a bad trigger. Our charging handle here is from Elftman Tactical. They sent that out for us to take a look at. So far, so good. Seems durable, and I do like the size on it. Very easy to do from one hand. Little something going on here with the spring that we're going to address, and I believe that this gun did not get our buffer treatment. We are now officially dingle ball honing the inside of all of our buffer tubes, and it makes a really big difference. Die-free grip on here, you're gonna see that a lot. It's definitely my favorite. This gun came together to be a little bit more of a higher end, but still in the budget category. I don't remember the cost on that, but there's a complete breakdown on this build with links to all of the components. We have a billeted upper and lower, again, that we cerakoted just to make it stand out and look a little bit nicer. The aesthetics were definitely a consideration in a gun like this, but I also wanted something that could be a modern day go-to-war gun that still looks good. Now, reliability, we're gonna need to test this thing. I've used most all of these components in other builds or recommended them to friends, and so far so good on all of that, but I would not call this a go-to-war gun until it has at least 1,000 rounds on it. We gotta get that optic sorted. Everything else on here is 100%. Many of the things that we wanted to test in these builds were the lowers and do some color combinations. Also the handguards, and we haven't done a big video talking about handguards. That is coming. There were 3 different brands of handguards tested here. Stinger, unbranded, and a cheap knockoff that was available for $40. I really wanted to dive into this lower receiver thing, dive into the handguard thing, and see why some of these companies are charging so much. Is it just their brand name that is carrying that, or is there something else to the story? And our most recent gun, which has not been revealed in total on YouTube until just now. You're the first time seeing this, but if you follow everything, you've seen several of these components before. We've been talking about the trigger and some of the color combination things that are going on here. You'll see some components that we have definitely used before, but this build is 100% AT3 Tactical. Now, this entire gun was sent to me from AT3 Tactical to celebrate the release of their new lower receiver. When we were talking about lower receivers, the timing of this coming out was absolutely perfect. We've spoke with several manufacturers to find out some of the details, and realistically, a lower is a lower is a lower. The roll stamp and markings are mostly the main difference. In this case, we have an AT3 Tactical roll stamp on there and some pretty basic mil-spec features. This one is custom cerakoted and has a single stage nickel boron upgraded enhanced trigger from AT3 Tactical. Stinger handguard, that's an AT3 brand. We've got the flip over mag and a little what is this one called? And the ARO red dot on there, which this gun has not been shot yet for a very good reason. This gun is missing just two things. The gas block that I was intending to use for this build was the wrong size. The bad part is that I pinned it before I tested it. Always test your parts. I did not test it. Should have tested it, didn't test it. So now I need a 625 gas block, but I also need the correct gas tube for this size. Now, we do have a Kung Fu grip on here, which is not yet available from AT3 Tactical, but tried to hook those two companies up so they can offer it. Other than that, we have a standard tail hook. This one in particular was not from AT3, but they have one very similar on their website. Now, AT3 is doing some really cool things with colors. As you can see, a lot of what we did here did have some custom colors to it. The cheap gray one here was just a spray paint, but the other ones had quite a bit of Cerakote, which is expensive. A couple things I wanted to show was that you can buy off-the-shelf black components and match them with one custom color and get a really cool look like we have in the one on top there from UNBranded. And the cheap one here with just some spray paint, you can get a pretty cool look there. And then the full custom job on Project Cold War. This one is also a full custom Cerakote. Really like the way that it came out there. We have a little bit of FDE, some desert sand, of course the black on the outside, and then this really cool gray. Complete build list for this gun is down below in the comments. But until we get a gas block, I can't shoot this one yet, but that hopefully will be coming very soon. AT3 barrel on here, really good value. We also have an AT3 muzzle device on there. I might want to, I think that's just hand tight on there. But an AT3 muzzle device on there, really good value and budget, and AT3 is doing some really cool things on their website with colors where you can mix and match some off-the-shelf colors and get a really cool look like that tan and FDE mixed up with some gray. I like the look of this. Let me know what you think. So 4 really cool 5.56s, we're gonna test them. 2 of them we've shot, 2 of them we have not, and there'll be more on that coming very soon. Let me know your comments down below, and YouTube thinks that you'll like this video right here.